Hello and welcome to Gapeys Garden. The question of the day, is it too late to plant your garden? Well, I sure hope not, because there's a whole bunch of stuff that I haven't planted yet. So let's go take a look and see what I have planted and what I haven't. Up here on the deck is where we've got all of our plants that we've got to get in the ground, hopefully this week, or at least try to get some of them in the ground. We've got all of our peppers here. None of those are planted. We've got our peppers in a can, which are doing pretty good. We've got sunflowers, zinnias. These are all the cucumbers, melons, and squashes. We've got a few flowers over here. All of the tomatoes still need to go in the ground. We've got cherry tomatoes there. And then these ones are the larger varieties. Now over here, we've got a bunch of flowers. Got some more parsley that we're going to plant in the garden. We've got some pincushions. These are snapdragons. I'll probably plant the snapdragons in the front yard. We've got some marigolds, straw flowers, and all these starts are probably getting super root bound. Got some more Swiss chard, straw flowers, our kales. I think that covers, we've got some nasturtiums down here as well, and it's actually starting to flower. Let's see, what else do we have? We've got some delicata squashes here. Our basil, this is going to go in the greenhouse. More tomatoes. There's our two varieties of eggplants. Then here's some greens. We've got just some mixed lettuces. This one is called Zucchina Savoy. And then we've got our sea kale, which is not doing as well as I would hope. And then we've got some leeks here. So this bed here is the only one that I've pretty much got fully planted out. This is where our onions are, and I've also intermixed some lettuces, and this is some endive here called Benefine, and we've got some spinaches in here, more lettuce, and then we've got our two tomatillos. And if you aren't familiar with tomatillos, you do need two of these in order to get fruit. So make sure to grab two of those if you're going to grow those. And then we've also got our Goldini zucchinis. We've got two of those. And we've got some leeks. These were actually planted late fall and they are doing really good. And our garlic chives here is a perennial, and our regular chives are flowering right now, and the bees are just loving them. Now this bed, I don't have really anything planted in here except for a couple of those Benefine endives, and I'll be pulling out this overwintered kale that has gone to seed, as well as this kale. And then we've got a parsley here that is also about to flower, and it looks like we've got some spit bugs that are getting into this, but I'm going to be pulling that out. I'm going to be using this bed for my beans, and let's see what else. I think some carrots, radishes, and maybe a few other things. Now this bed here is where I plan to grow my tomatoes, but there's still a lot of stuff in here that overwintered from last year, so I have a lot of cleaning out to do. I also have some greens in here. That's an Asian green, similar to tatsoi. And then we've got some more lettuces and more of that endive here. And my favorite lettuce this year is this Morton's Secret Mix. This is one I got from Experimental Farm Network, but it's a variety of different lettuces, and the majority of them are variegated. So that one is there. This is another one. That's also one. This one also came from it, but it's not quite variegated. This one has just very slight variegation, but it's a really, really awesome mix. And then we've also got in this bed some overwintered spinach and beets that have gone to seed. And I have been tossing this to the chickens pretty much on a daily basis, and I can't get rid of this soon enough. I don't want to give it to them all at once, but I have been giving them quite a bit the last couple days. So there's a whole bunch in there that they are working on, but they just love this stuff. Now this bed that we have along the chicken run has a few things in it. I planted mostly flowers in here last year, but I decided to try growing some lettuce. This is another one of those Morton's Secret mixed lettuces. Another one here. We've got one radish left, most of them bolted, and looks like this one is about to bolt as well. We've got a Swiss chard in there. This is, I did plant some new flowers in here. This is a California poppy called Thai Silk Pink Champagne, so that should get some really pretty flowers. More spinach. We've got some volunteer chamomile coming up in here. And this is a hollyhock that I planted last year. We've got volunteer alyssums coming up. And then this is Clarkia. This is a new flower for me this year, and I decided to put one of those in here. And then I'm really kind of excited about this one. This is a dandelion, but it's not your typical yellow dandelion. This is a pink dandelion. And they typically don't flower in the first year, but I started these from seed in early spring, and this one just opened up today. So I've got pink ones in here, as well as some white ones. Now this bed has been mostly planted out for quite a while. This is where all the garlic is, and the garlic is looking really good. We should start seeing some garlic scapes here anytime now. I'm not seeing any just yet, but they should be coming out soon. I've also got some lettuces planted in between the garlic. We've got quite a few different varieties in there. We still have the other half to plant out, and I'll be doing that soon. So this is the only in-ground bed we have, and I usually plant corn and potatoes in here, but I decided to skip the corn this year and am doing a lot of potatoes. So all the potatoes I'm growing this year were grown from TPS or true potato seeds, and we've got, I think, probably a dozen or more plants in here, and they're all looking really good. I also got my cosmos planted. I've got 2, 4, 5 different varieties of cosmos planted on the end of this bed, and I'll be adding some more flowers in here. I've also got a couple of amaranths in here, so those were just planted the other day. So on the end here I've got some broccoli, and this is a purple sprouting broccoli and should do really well in the heat of summer. I've also got a ton of cilantro popping up in here, and I'm just letting that grow. Once it starts bolting, I'll probably pull it out, but I do enjoy some cilantro. I'll hopefully be doing a video soon on the greenhouse. If you haven't noticed, it is shiny and new. We just finished repaneling the entire greenhouse over the last week, and it looks pretty awesome. So I'm looking forward to getting my peppers in the ground. They're all gonna go in here, and I'll probably put a couple tomatoes in here as well. But the only thing growing in here right now is this thyme bush that I just gave a trim today. And then we've got a couple of parsleys that I planted in early spring that I decided to just leave in here. We'll also be putting the eggplants in here as well. So the answer to the question, is it too late to plant your garden? Definitely not, especially if you've already got some garden starts or are planning to get some. Now, if you're wanting to start your garden from seeds, it is too late to start tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, probably tomatillos. So you'll want to get some starts from a nursery if you're wanting to plant those things. But things like beans, cucumbers, squashes, it's definitely not too late to start those. So go ahead and get those started if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. You can also find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.